Hi, so in this video I'm going to show you how to put together your forces for 1 hour skirmish. The first thing to do is work out the scenario that you're playing. So this can either be a scenario that you've put together yourself or one from the book. There are a number of scenarios in the book, but it's much more fun to put together your own, isn't it? Once you've worked out your scenario and the victory conditions, the next thing you need to do is work out, is it actually a balanced scenario or does one side have the upper hand? If one side slightly has the upper hand, then it might be worth giving them a few more extra points. And there are plenty of examples of this in the book, but obviously if you feel that the scenario is perfectly balanced, please just give both forces exactly the same number of points. A full breakdown of the point system is available in chapter 9 of the book. And one of the things that I love about this book and about the way that the author's written it is that he does give us a lot of design notes, and the design notes on the point system are fantastic and really, really good. One of the things that he stresses is that putting together a point system is more of an art than a science. And as much as the authors can do everything they can to make it balanced, it's never possible to get it entirely balanced because the use of points really is entirely situational. So to give you an example, if you've given one of your models the ability to do well in hand-to-hand and then they never actually end up getting into a fight, those points are wasted, but there's no way of preparing for that in advance, of course. So as much as a point system is an imperfect science or really more of an art, it's still important that the players do have a way of balancing their forces, and a point system does help them to do this. But I would say, in keeping with the rules on the whole, the author does a fantastic job of keeping the system elegant and simple while comprehensive. I think it's a very, very neat solution to the points system. One thing to note is that there are no specific army lists in 1 hour skirmish. Instead of that, you're encouraged to build up your individual warriors or characters or models with special capabilities in order to reflect the units that they're supposed to be representing. So for instance, there's no army list for World War II paratroopers. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to run through an example of an SAS squadron from World War II. It's only going to have 4 models. The reason for that is I want to keep the example short and just not bore you with lots of detail, but still give you enough information to make sense of the rules. Obviously 4 models isn't really enough to play a game. The reason I'm using World War II SAS is that they were a real ragtag bunch with all sorts of different backgrounds, all sorts of different special capabilities, and they make a really interesting example of how to put together a unit. So there's an example of how to put together a force using 1 hour scenario point system. So here's an example of my World War II SAS unit. First of all, in honour of the author, we have Sergeant Lambshead. He costs us 1 point. He comes with a rifle by default, but if we want to upgrade him to have a machine gun such as a Tommy gun, then we need to give him 1 point. We need to pay 1 point for this, sorry, I should say. And made him a leader with a value of 2. Now in the rulebook, leader has a 2x in its values, which means that whatever value they give the leader, you need to multiply that by 2. So giving him a value of 2, I multiply that by 2, giving me 4 points. I've also made him inspiring, which costs 1 point, giving us a total of 7 points. Now we have myself, Corporal Brooke, reporting to Sergeant Lambshead for a 1 point, but I'm tough with a value of 2. Now in the rules, this is just tough in brackets X, which means that whatever value I've put in the toughness, I pay that value in points. So a toughness of 2 costs 2 points. I then have dead shot, value of 2, costing 2 points, giving me a total of 5 points. So then we have Trooper King, Phil, from the, just as an aside, Trooper King is Phil from the demo game that I did in one of my other videos, which I'll be presenting a link to at the end of this. So don't forget to hang around and check that out. Anyway, we've upgraded him to give him an SMG as well, so that's cost us 1 point. We've made him a bruiser and a scout of 2, giving him a total of 5 points. We've also got Trooper Shenton, who is Mark from the battle report, and we've made him a dead shot 2, scout 2, tough 1. Each of those cost, the number of points is the same as the number and their value, giving them a total of 6 points. So when we look at the unit as a whole, we have Sergeant Lambshead for 7 points, we have Corporal Brooke for 5 points, Trooper King for 5 points, and Trooper Shenton for 6 points. Now also I've given the unit a motivation value of 4. This means that also costs 4 points, which means that the unit as a whole costs a total of 27 points. I hope you've enjoyed this quick overview, and if you want to check out the battle report, then please check it out here.